page 406.
SFM 11.
Yes. Page 406. We were dealing with the conclusion. You recall that's the report
Oh, yes.
dated 20 Jan 2025, which you submitted to the minister on 22 Jan.
Correct.
2025, yes. You had read the first paragraph first unnumbered paragraph under paragraph 311. Then if I can ask you to proceed from the next unnumbered paragraph, the directive by the minister.
The directive by the Minister of Police to disband the National Task Team has been noted. The initial objective and directive by the President has been achieved with noticeable decrease in political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. As a result, the task team's intervention and relentless pursuit of its mandate. South African Police Service remains responsible for finalization of those dockets in possession of the task team, as well as finalization of dockets which are currently before court. The following steps are being taken to wind down the task team without compromising pending investigations or court processes. Stakeholder engagement to be conducted with other external role players in the task team, especially the NPA, who have dedicated capacity of prosecutors working with the team. The 128 case dockets, which are under investigation and allocated to the task team, will be retained by the task team and investigations will be finalized. An audit will be done of those dockets still under investigation in order to establish which dockets can be returned to station of origin or allocated to other investigating units within SAPS. No new dockets will be taken by or allocated to the task team. The 115 case dockets, which are currently pending at courts, be retained by the task team until their finalization in order to avoid challenges during court processes which may result in charges being withdrawn against some of the accused, leading to unnecessary civil claims. These possible challenges might include unsuccessful prosecution as a result of new investigating officers not familiar with evidence in the dockets, witnesses not willing to cooperate and testify due to lack of trust to new investigators, further investigation still outstanding and attending to prosecutors' queries will be negatively affected. The current capacity of the task team will be gradually scaled down to only personnel who are required to finalize dockets retained by the task team. The scaling down of the team will depend on the 115 case dockets that are currently pending at courts, with most of the court dates in the year 2025. It is anticipated that the team will complete the work before the end of the year 2025. However, the seriousness of the cases and the processes at court will indicate the course of action.
Now, can I ask you to stop there? In respect of no new dockets, we will deal with that issue at a subsequent meeting that you had with the minister in March. I just want to ask you about the part that you've just read there, that it is anticipated that the team will complete the work before end of the year 2025. Then what follows thereafter, however, the seriousness of the cases and the processes at court will indicate the course of action. What did you intend to communicate to the minister by that?
What I was indicating there is that...
So National Commissioner, having regard to the fact that the minister's instruction was to disband immediately.
Yes, what I was indicating there is that despite him saying we must disband immediately, the cases will dictate how long the task team is going to be there, meaning that as long as there are cases that are rolling, the task team will still be in existence dealing with the cases.
And then you can just deal with the last paragraph in that conclusion.
The multidisciplinary investigative approach, in bracket, analysis-led and prosecutor-guided investigation applied by the task team will be adopted and used to serve as a benchmark for the realignment of contract killings and organized crime investigation. Further directives will be issued in this regard. Progress will be reported, dated 22nd of January, 2025, signed off by myself, and make comments for the Minister of Police.
Okay. I can then ask you to turn back to your statement.
Oh, please, before that, Mr. Mutau, talk has always been about 121 dockets, General. Can you please explain the difference between the 128 dockets that you referred to at page 407 of this annexure, small Roman 2, and you also refer to that same number, that is 128, at paragraph 131(2) of your statement at page 40. Just that 7 docket difference. It was 121 by the time the dockets were taken to head office. But at the stage you made this report, it was 128. Had the 7 been finalized, or what had since happened to them?
Yeah, what happens, Commissioner, is that they get finalized at court and they reduce in number as time goes on.
My question, General, is do they include the Fort Hare dockets and the traditional leaders killings dockets? Or were this only political killings specific in your 128?
Yeah, it does include all the dockets. It includes all of them.
Mr. Mdau, before you move on, you're referring now to the statement. I think you're going back to the statement. So I take it you have finished with this report. All right. Maybe then let's look at page, General, if you would look at page of that report. So, pardon me, somehow my desk is not working out this morning. At page 392, you have 3.6, the heading cases highlighted by critics of the task team. And you start off there, which is why I want to explore this further with you. The opening paragraph there is, the following cases have been referred to in letters written to the minister in which accusations have been leveled against the task team. Now, and then you've got 3.61, a case number involving local municipal councillor P. Ndlovu. You have 3.62, relates to ANC candidate councillor Mkhize and his friend Nyanga. And then you have 3.6.3, which I don't see. And then you've got 3.64 relating to the murder of Cindo Makata. And then you've got 3.66 or 65, it's a Margate case. And then you've got 366. Now, on reading these paragraphs here, it's not clear what is the criticism in respect of any one of these cases? It doesn't set out, it just gives you a summary what the case is about. And insofar as this may be among the factors, and we'll still hear from the minister, insofar as this may be factors that the minister took into account in his decision, then I think it is important that we get an explanation or greater detail of what these cases are about. But if it is matters that you say General Khumalo will speak to, I'm happy to leave it at that. But as it stands now, it's not clear, at least to me, what is the criticism about these cases?
Thanks, Commissioner. Well, Khumalo will dwell more into it, but I'm aware that what it means is that there were letters written either to myself, National Commissioner. For example, the first case, AfriForum did write a letter complaining about the investigation of the specific case on 361, Mbubumeni case, the matter of a DA, Umgeni local municipality councillor, Mr. Ndlovu. So they were complaining that they don't get feedback. So each case have got its explanation. So it has been raised not only by one person, this case was raised by AfriForum. The other ones, they have got parties that raised them, where in this case, they were saying they were not getting briefing from the political killings task team, and they think the team don't know what they are doing, they are on the wrong course, they need to be briefed. So in that regard, we couldn't really go out and brief AfriForum on everything because we knew what we were doing, and we were aware that AfriForum has been contracted by Umgeni municipality to also do private investigation on the matter. So we couldn't every time we collect information and then go and give them. We have a direct link with the widow of the Councillor Ndlovu. If ever we have to go and give her feedback, we will be able to do so. And if we have to give the municipality also, we had that leeway. So we knew what we were having in our cards, and we can only give them that which we want to give. We can't give everything to AfriForum and they go and give. They might even give to some of our suspects. So that was the issue. Then they wrote this letter complaining to myself and the minister that they are not getting feedback, and this unit, PKTT, is useless, is not competent, and so on. So we couldn't really get to their level to argue those points because we knew what we were doing. And eventually, we did make arrests in this case. We arrested a number of people, I think, including an Nkosi, in that regard. So there are people that are before court currently on that same matter. There was an Induna arrested, there was later an Nkosi arrested for that matter. So, but yes, there were such complaints.
Is a difference, though, General, between complaints and accusations, and the heading here is accusations. So if what you're saying is all of them that you've listed here, all 6 or 7 of them, were of similar complaints, that the people were not getting report backs, they were not getting updates, then that's fine, it's clarified, if that's the case in all of them. But you've got one, for example, in 3.6.3, it's about Sergeant Dlamini and 4 others. Is it a similar kind of complaint where you say accusation? In fact, you should have said complaint. Dlamini, you'll find a 393. I know Mr. Mutawi had said you'd speak more to it. I don't know if you're still getting there, but I want to be sure that we understand when you say accusations, it suggests that there may be allegations of wrongdoing. At least that's what the heading suggested to me in the first paragraph. And when I read the body of it, there was no allegations of wrongdoing by the task team. And I think it's important that you clarify that.
Yeah, it differs from case to case, Commissioner. In that regard, in Sergeant Lamini, for example, there was a complaint that he has been arrested for nothing. He was part of the task team, and he did wrong things, and he was caught up by his own colleagues and arrested. He has been convicted as we speak now, and he's awaiting sentencing. But I think at the end of his trial, then he raised the matter that the magistrate must recuse himself at the end of the trial after conviction. So that is being dealt by the courts currently. So the complaint there was that he was denied bail and is inside and with others. He wasn't alone, and they are still awaiting trial, the others, and so the complaint was he's just denied bail for no reason. And so nobody can be denied bail and be inside for no reason. So eventually, as we speak, he has been convicted. He's awaiting sentencing. So those were the complaints coming from various people on him.
Thank you, General. Mr. Mtawi, you've heard my concern.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. General, you indicated that General Khumalo is going to deal deeper with these issues, and you've provided your explanation in terms of the questions that were posed. And if I can just ask you to go back then to your statement, because you dealt with this issue in part from paragraph 119 to 121. If I can just ask you to deal with that so that we can close that issue and move on to another aspect.
1192
121.
or to 121.
You dealt with it yesterday regarding the minister contacting you. Oh, sorry, you contacting the minister to request audience.
Okay, yes, during that week, although I do not recall the exact date, I contacted the minister via mobile to request an audience. I informed him of the importance of providing initial briefing regarding the establishment and activities of the PKTT. The minister indicated his willingness to schedule time for this discussion. Paragraph 120, at the same time, there were adverse media reports pertaining to crime intelligence. The minister subsequently called me to express his intention to appoint a senior counsel to investigate various issues highlighted by the media, including the appointment of Brigadier Lekhalanyane, Brigadier Mokwele, the security clearance of Lieutenant General Dimsani Khumalo, and the murder of Cindo Makata. I assured him that detailed information on these topics was readily available to him, and reiterated my previous request to brief him comprehensively on matters of division, crime intelligence, and the PKTT. The minister agreed to attend a briefing on the afternoon of the 16th. So in short, what I'm explaining there is that these matters were that time in the media, and I asked him that, because he says he was concerned, he wanted to appoint a senior counsel to investigate these matters. What I said to him was, well, the information is yours and is available to you. If you choose to go and appoint a counsel to buy it, it's up to you, but it's readily available to you and you can get it for free. And he asked, does that include Cindo Makata's matter? I said, yes, indeed. It's one of those matters that we said we want to brief you on, because what you see in the media, you know more about what happened to Cindo Makata. It is exactly because of the PKTT that investigated the matter. The matter happened long before Dumisani Khumalo joined crime intelligence. And when he joined, he unearthed this. He investigated, he arrested people on this. Currently, we know there are various witnesses that have been protected for this specific case. So it's a case that is unearthed by us. So you can't say, for example, you always hear out there that the firearm and the vehicle that killed Cindo Makata was come from crime intelligence. Yes, indeed so, but the reason why you know that is because of the PKTT that investigated the matter. Most people think that this happened now during when General Dumisani Khumalo was in CI. It's false. No, it's not like that. It happened before him. Upon him assuming the duties as divisional commissioner, while he was at the PKTT, he investigated this matter and they unearthed it and they made arrest. Hence, there are some people. There is a hitman that has been convicted. The case is not yet finalized; it's still continuing. So, I told him that that's how these matters came to light. So, make time. Let's brief you, but it's for him. If he wants to get a counsel to investigate, it's up to him. On paragraph 121.
Sorry, before you get there, at the time when the minister called you, as you say in paragraph 120, in relation to the sequence of events, was this before the minister took a decision that the task team be disbanded immediately, or is this after the decision had already been taken?
Well, that time, the decision was already taken. The letter or the directive was already issued 31st of January 2024. So these discussions were somewhere around 14.
You mean December, General?
Oh, yeah, December 2024. Yes. And these discussions were somewhere in 15 January 2025.
So the minister will tell the commission if these facts that arose after the decision, after his letter, were relevant considerations that he took into account when he gave that directive. But let's leave that for the minister to explain.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If you go to 121, then are you about to deal with that?
On that day, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and I briefed the minister with a thorough update on the aforementioned matters, as well as ongoing counterintelligence investigations, and reminded the minister that a briefing on the PKTT should still be held. The briefing included an identified syndicate with significant influence and/or connections, particularly and/or within law enforcement and the criminal justice system. The report included identifying senior SAPS officers who were associated with criminal syndicates and/or advancing or protecting interests of the Big Five within the law enforcement and criminal justice system.
Perhaps if we could stop there, because that should be sufficient for purposes of the issues that had been raised. And what follows here, we know you dealt with it also yesterday, but it introduces or deals with an issue that you thoroughly covered yesterday. So the purpose of referring you to those paragraphs, it was to deal with the interactions between yourself and the minister with reference to the complaints that had been raised, which you refer to in that report. So if I can ask you then to turn to paragraph 129, where you start.
Maybe before that, Commissioner.
Yes.
Yeah, just to say, during that briefing, the PKTT the briefing wasn't done. It was just agreed. The minister said, as you know, the report is due on the 20th, so we'll discuss it later in the future. So it wasn't discussed in that meeting of the 16th. Thank you, Commissioner.
So that's why you're saying to the minister there in 121, I thought that's the point you had made. You reminded the minister that a briefing on the PKTT should still be held.
Thanks, Com.
And you're saying it's because it didn't occur in that meeting of 16 January.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Yes, if I can then ask you to turn to paragraph 129. This is after you've referred to this report, SFM 11, and you set out your comments in relation thereto. So if I can ask you to start at 129.
The report set out in detail the success of the PKTT, its strength as well as the criticism level against it, which are unfounded. The report also highlights the PKTT successes such as successful arrests and/or convictions of masterminds behind political matters. Importantly, the report highlights that the PKTT had undeniably achieved and far exceeded the purpose for which it was established, and that no other task team in South Africa had achieved the successes, nor has it been able to investigate and ensure successful prosecution of perpetrators of politically motivated matters, especially the masterminds.
Yes, you dealt with the significance of that strategy yesterday. And perhaps if I could just ask you, how does that differ with the ordinary conventional methods of investigating crimes, which is relevant to the notion of the successes that you are briefing the minister on?
Yeah, the difference is normally if you investigate a ordinary matter, you always have two people involved, one having killed the other. And normally it might end up there. Either they've been fighting or be it a road rage or whatever. So the investigation revolves just around two people. But with political killings, there is a lot of stakeholders that are involved. There is someone that wants to eliminate the other, and he will go far to find a hitman, and he will procure or find a firearm. And there will be sometimes people that will spot or track the victim. And eventually the hitman will do his work, and there will be payment. And sometimes the payment is not direct, it's via some other people back to the hitman. So that's how complex these cases are. And So it takes a team, not an individual, to investigate this type of cases. So it needs a lot of analysis that has to be done on various, be it cold data, be it ballistic. So it needs a teamwork to focus just on one case. It can take quite long. Hence, you might look at the figures of the numbers of convictions, maybe not being too much, but this, we are not just dealing here with a murder where two people fight, the other one kill the other. It requires a lot of dedication. It involves a lot of role players that are involved in the chain to this type of killings.
So when you are talking about a comparison, is it possible when one measures the aspect of success to compare these type of cases that PKTT is dealing with the ordinary matters that are investigated through the traditional methods of investigation?
It won't be, or let me say, it is not comparable because, as I said, normally in ordinary murder, one kill the other, you arrest. So the number of arrests, the number of firearms convicted, and the number of be it pilot ad hoc cases is quite influential in this case of PKTT cases, in that on other investigations of ordinary murders, you don't deal with complexity normally. There will be very few areas to touch. So you cannot really compare the number of convictions by the PKTT to say if you have 4 in PKTT and you have 5 in other areas, you can't really compare because the magnitude of work is not the same, and the team is dealing with specific cases, whereas other investigation units are focused on the other cases. Yes, they might be murder, but they are not as sophisticated as this one. So it's not easy to compare the two.
One of the aspects that you touched on yesterday was that the PKTT gets deployed in instances where cases could not be resolved, or cases, to use your words of yesterday, where cases are not moving. If I can just ask you to explain that concept that you touched on yesterday.
Yeah, when I was saying where cases are not moving, I mean that the cases would have been allocated to general detective or a specialized unit. And we do not see any arrest or prosecution over time. Then when you bring the PKTT, then normally there would be a breakthrough. A good example is cases at Fort Hare University, where I did say that the Hawks were investigating, I'm sure for a year or so, dealing with corruption and fraud. And then there were killings that happened there, which were done by general detectives from the province, but there were no arrests in those cases. But after we gave these cases to the PKTT, they were able to unravel what was happening there. And as normal as when we work with an institution like university, the entry point sometime will be the management of the university as well as the head of security of the institution. In that regard, there was a Mr. Plakis, who was security head or manager of that institution. So the team worked with him with a view to investigate this case, and they were close to him and they cooperated well. But over time, the very same team, they were staying with him, eating with him, doing everything. The very same team later, they found that actually he is the mastermind of these cases. And the team didn't hesitate to say, maybe we shared lunch with him yesterday. They arrested him, and they were able to unravel those cases and arrested quite a number of cases at the Fort Hare University. So when we say they can deal with cases that don't move, that's what we refer. Same in KZN. There were cases before investigated by the previous team to PKTT where there wasn't much of success. And when they took over those cases...
So you're talking about the disbanded?
Yes, the dissolved or disbanded task team. After the PKTT took over those cases, there has been a lot of arrests, recovery of firearms, and a number of convictions. Same you can look in Gauteng when the team, the 10 members of the PKTT came to Gauteng to assist in the matter of Amaswart. They investigated that matter and also coming to the issue of Ket Matlala. You'll recall that I said that a certain person came to me complaining about the relationship between Lieutenant General Sibia and Ket Matlala, which I then gave that specific investigation to General Dumisani Kumalo on the kidnapping of Ejeribu Shura. It was that case that ended up unraveling what actually Ket Matlala was doing. It was that case that led to the search of his property on the 6th of December 2024, when there was also at the same time an operation to arrest KT Mulefe. So all these cases that unraveled out of this out of Ket Matlala, it emanated from, that is a very, from the time I gave this work to Dumisani Kumalo to say, go and investigate, which I took it away from, I said, General Sibia can't oversee it, so to investigate it. So it was that case that unraveled all others that involve him and end up culminating in the arrest of Ket Matlala for the attempted murder of his former girlfriend. You'd recall that if you go back somewhere, if we go back, the murder of Babita Diokoran.
Mr. Mutau,
Yes.
do we need this much detail? Your question was a simple one. What exactly are the methods? I don't think the General needs to go into this much detail if he's merely addressing the question of the methods that the PKTT was applying and which were not the same as what your conventional detectives would apply.
Yes.
Shouldn't we move on?
But,
Also, I'm raising this because it's repetitive.
Thank you. Thank you, General. I think you've indicated the methods, how they work, and how different are they from the conventional methods. And General Kumalo will talk to one of the concepts that is loosely called the ownership of a docket in the conventional method or conventional investigation method versus how the concept of a docket and the absence of ownership in the PKTT model. Perhaps if you could just briefly deal with that. In terms of ameliorating the risk of bribery, extortion, etc.
Thanks, Commissioner. In that regard, I think I can go as far as to say what the team does is, in the traditional way of investigation, a docket is allocated to an investigator. And but how the team works is the docket is for the team. It's not for an individual investigator. So there is no room for corruption whatsoever, because everyone in the team, within the PKT, there are teams. So everyone in the team will know exactly where we are and where we are going. So there is no way you can do something untoward which the team don't want. That's how Sergeant Dlamini was caught in that way. So it's easy if you go off track on the way they work, they will be able to pick it up very quickly. Thank you.
Yes, I think let's just leave it at that. General Kumar, like I said, will deal with those details in his testimony. Then if I can ask you to proceed from paragraph 130 of your statement.
Insofar as the report had to include a write-up of the justification of the disbandment of the PKTT, it goes without saying that I could not justify the disbandment, and neither could Khumalo. My position has always been that PKTT had to remain. Therefore, in the report to the minister, we simply state that the directive of the minister to disband has been noted, and that the initial objective and the directive by the president has been achieved with noticeable decrease of political-related killings in KZN as a result of the PKTT's intervention and relentless pursuit of its mandate. This is the best we could do in the circumstances, since this was an instruction and not a discussion.
Yes, and then the paragraph that follows and its subparagraphs, you've dealt with, because you read it directly from the report itself. You'll see up until 131.8. And you also dealt, when you were reading from the report SFM 11, you also dealt with that recommendation, which is set out in paragraph 132, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Right. If we can then move on to paragraph 133. If you can start from paragraph 133.
I had heard nothing further from the minister about the disbandment until the 4th of March 2025, when my office received an email from the minister's chief of staff, Mr. Ngabinde, inviting me to attend a ministerial meeting on the PKT disbandment implementation plan, which was scheduled for 6th of March 2025, 11:30 to 18:15 in Cape Town, in the office of the Provincial Commissioner's boardroom.
Yes. Then over the page.
Prior to this meeting, on the 5th of March, I appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police for a briefing by subs, amongst others focusing on challenges relating to crime intelligence, an investigation against Major General Khan, the status of the PKTT, and details on an interview by the Provincial Commissioner of KZN during 2025 Police Day. The appearance was by way of virtual meeting platform. In attendance were, among others, myself, the Minister, Lieutenant General Mkonazi, Lieutenant General Tumisani Khumalo, During this session, Lieutenant General Mkonazi made an allegation that the minister knew a gentleman by the name of Brown Mokhodzi. This is but one of the allegations that was made by General Mkonazi at that meeting. Minister Mkhunu denied knowing a gentleman by the name of Brown Mokhodzi. After the meeting, in a meeting where I was present together with Deputy Ministers Matale and Dr. Bushielo and the minister repeated his denial regarding Brown Mokhodzi to me and the two deputy ministers.
All right. Can I just ask you to, in relation to that meeting, tell the commission whether after those revelations were made by General Mkonazi to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, was there any process that was set up by the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee to deal with those allegations, coupled with the minister's denial, at least of this one allegation? You say there were more allegations or more revelations that were made. But the point is, did the Portfolio Committee act on these allegations? Did they set up a process, or what indication did they say or give by way of their intervention in addressing those, if any?
No, Commissioner. There wasn't any process that I know of, unless they did something alone as a committee. But what I'm aware of, there was nothing that was done by the committee.
Yes, I'm asking, as at the conclusion of that meeting, was there an indication perhaps to say the committee is going to set up a process to look into the allegations?
No.
On that day?
No, on that day, no. The meeting just ended. There was no such a way forward in terms of what the committee is going to do on those matters.
Mr. Matao?
Yes.
Can we just take it one step back?
Yes.
General, how did it come about that you specifically appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee? We've heard from General Mkonazi how it came about that he appeared there. So I want to know about you specifically. Were you invited by the committee to appear, or did you request the committee that time be given for you to make a presentation? I just want clarity on that. How did it come about that on the day, 5 March 2025, you appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police?
There was an invite, Commissioner, for myself, the minister, and to attend the meeting with those topics that I read earlier. Those topics were on the invite, but there were quite a number of others. But we were invited to that meeting, all of us, myself, Minister, and General Mkonazi.
And were you asked to address specifically the issue of the disbandment of the task team?
Yes, we were asked specifically. If I may go back to, let me see. Yeah, on the invite, the committee, as on page paragraph 134 of my statement, the committee want a briefing, among others, on the status of the PKTT and the work that they were doing. So we had to brief them on what PKTT is, where it comes from, what is it doing, and also the fact that for us, we are of the view that the team is doing a good work. So yes, they called us. Among the topics was to brief them on the PKTT status.
And did you address them on the minister's letter dated 31 December 2024?
Yes, the letter was one of the matters that we addressed in that meeting. and they engaged us, and they seems to have been happy with the status that was prevailing that time. There wasn't one of them, as far as I remember, that suggested that the team should continue or is doing a good work. No, we advised them, they were happy, and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Matau.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. So, in respect of that status, when you say they were happy with the status that was prevailing at the time, what was the status at the time?
Well, some of them I wouldn't specifically know unless one goes to the recording of that day. I do remember that maybe one member or so that said, no, they agree with the minister that the team must disband. So that I can remember, despite us showing them the work that the team was doing.
And was there any other view to the contrary that was expressed in respect of disbandment?
I don't remember. I don't remember any.
Yeah. All right. Let's go then to paragraph 135, where you deal with the meeting of 6 March, which you said earlier you will address.
Okay. On the 6th of March 2025, I attended a meeting in Cape Town. In attendance in the meeting was the Minister of Police, Cindo Makata, the Deputy National Commissioners, both policing and crime detection, Lieutenant General Msikiri and Lieutenant General Sibia, Lieutenant General Dumisani Kumalo, the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Minister, Mr. Nkabinde, Lieutenant General Sintumule, and there was a Lieutenant Colonel together with us. In preparation for this meeting, Lieutenant General Kumalo prepared an updated presentation on the PKTT. The presentation is annexed as SFM 12. After the meeting, Lieutenant General Dumisani Kumalo presented, or during the briefing, presented the briefing note to the Minister and the Deputy Commissioner Policing. After Lieutenant General Kumalo presented the briefing note to the Minister, the Deputy Commissioner Policing and I, in other words, he was presenting. So after the presentation, myself and the Deputy of Policing were in favor that the plan by the Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection and the Chief of Staff. Actually, let me put it this way. I think it's something went out here. During the briefing, myself and the Deputy Commissioner for Policing were in favor that, well, if you end up now, if you agree to the winding down, the dockets of the task team can go to the Provincial Commissioner KZN. At the province, there is a unit called Murder and Robbery Unit, which is not fully staffed. So we can then send the dockets there, send members of the PKTT that are from KwaZulu-Natal to form part of that unit at the province for Murder and Robbery Unit. So that's where I'm saying then the Deputy Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Sibia, and the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, were against that plan, and they were also against this winding down. They wanted immediate disbandment of the team, and also the fact that they wanted that the dockets mustn't go to province, because they say if the dockets go to the province, it's like we are masquerading the PKTT under murder and robbery, which I also asked the question, but so why? What's the problem? What is this eagerness to disband so fast, and you don't even want to see the members together? And they emphasize that no, dockets must go to the police stations of origin.
Yesterday, you dealt with part of the contents of Annexure SFM12. Just to remind the commissioners, you dealt with 411 to 413. Remember when you asked the question of the 333 dockets, to say where does that come from eventually? And you took the commission through the 333 and how you eventually get to 612.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Then in 136, you deal with the minister's conduct. If I can ask you to proceed from there.
Yeah, the minister's conduct in this meeting and in the general regarding the disbandment was very concerning to me. At this meeting of the 6th of December, the 6th of March, 2025 in Cape Town, when the meeting started, I asked the minister, can you provide this forum or these officers that are here? What is the reason for disbanding this political killings task team? Because we see we are planning disbandment, we must table a plan. You want immediate disbandment, I suggest the winding down, there's no agreement. But what are the reasons for this disbandment?
General, does that question suggest that it was not clear to you from the letter of 31 December 2024 what the reason was?
Yeah, the reasons on the letter of the 31st of December 2024 was not convincing to me. That you have done assessment. You have done assessment where? With who? That was my problem. So it was not clear, and I couldn't take that as a reason. Hence I asked him, tell this, before this meeting starts, as we open, tell these officers what are the reasons for the disbandment. And the minister later, not immediately, later in that meeting, he responded that political killings took place somewhere pre-1994 and not after.
Can I ask you, just on that statement, the minister's response is focusing on political killings, to say those were on what you say was the minister's response, an issue that occurred or took place pre-1994 and not after. And I just want to ask you two questions from there. The one is it correct that post-1994 there were no political killings? And secondly, does that response take into account the extension of the scope or the mandate of the political task team to include matters in Fort Hare and the traditional leaders?
Yeah, if I understand your question correctly.
Okay, let me take it one question at a time.
Yes, I wasn't sure I follow the question.
All right, let's see it. Let me take it one question at a time. Part of what is or what has been dealt with is mention of the fact that the political killings would rise around election time. In other words, they would spike up. You recall that part of your evidence. Now, if these political killings by the minister are said to have taken place pre-1994 and not after, is that statement accurate?
No, that statement is not accurate. The political killings have been taking place, yes, pre-94, even after 94. I worked in KwaZulu-Natal from the year 2000 up to 2010. And during that period, I had a small team that was dealing with the very same political killings. So to keep them under control, you must always have a team working with this type of cases. So it's not true that they happened before. Like he was saying, they happened before 1994. What is happening now is just murders. No, it wasn't just murders. It was murders of politicians, reason being related to politics. It's either within a party about issues of succession or from party to another party. That's what we call political killings. So they were happening after 94, even now they're still happening.
And the second aspect of my question was to deal with the fact that the minister's reason that was provided in that meeting relates only to political killings. Does that statement take into account the fact that the PKTT's mandate had been extended to include the investigation of murders at the Fort Hare University and to include the killing of traditional leaders?
Obviously, I don't know whether during his assessment also he did went as far as those extensions, but I will take it that he must have done that. And which means actually when you disband the team, all cases of Fort Hare are going to collapse. But I wouldn't know, but whether he had went as far as that or taken that into account, that the PKTT was not only doing political killings in KZN, its mandate was extended to Eastern Cape Fort Hare University and subsequently also in KwaZulu-Natal to investigate traditional leaders' killings. So I wouldn't know whether you have done that.
All right, proceed. You say during the meeting, the fourth line? Fourth line of paragraph 136.
Fourth line.
During the meeting?
Yeah, during the meeting, the presentation of Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo was partially accepted.
Can I just ask you to explain that? What does that mean?
By partially accepted, I mean that, remember at this meeting, we are going to present a plan which would have been signed off by the minister. So because there were matters in the presentation that were not agreed to by the minister and other parties. For example, one of them was that dockets must go to murder and robbery at the province, and there was those that were against to say they must go, especially General Sibia and Gabinde, that they must go back to station of origin. So that has to be amended. And also, during this meeting, it was asked then, how far is this team then gonna go on with its lifespan? I said, well, as long as the work is there, it will go on. Then it was a no-no, even by the minister, that no. The team's lifespan cannot go beyond 2025. It must end in 2025. So those were some of the critical amendments that made the plan not to be accepted, but partially accepted. The wind down was partially accepted, but that go and change those things to make sure that the team go as far as this current, its lifespan goes to as far as this current 2025.
So the partial acceptance is at least that there was no immediate disbandment, but the winding down had to be completed in the year 2025.
That was correct. And yeah. Nevertheless,
Yes.
the meeting concluded that
General, before you go to nevertheless, in your experience and your operating procedures and command structures, is it the role of the chief of staff in policing matters and policing decisions? What is it? Is it regulated? Do they participate in decisions about policing matters?
well, as far as I know, I don't think it's regulated anywhere. You'll find those that don't participate. You'll find that those that participate very less. You'll find those that participate full time, as if they are extension of the minister.
Is your answer that, well, maybe let me ask the question rather. Was it usual for Mr. Nkabinde, the chief of staff, to be participating in this kind of decision and taking a position, as you say he did, that the dockets should go to the stations? Was it usual for that to happen?
Not usually. In other meetings, he might participate very little. But yeah, this one he was participating fully.
I mean, there was no irregularity. It's not irregular that he participated in the way that you say he did in this meeting on a policing decision.
Yeah, no, normally, now and then, they will make remarks in meetings, the chiefs of staff. They will. But here he participated quite more.
Thank you, Commissioner Mado. Maybe let's just use an example. On page 407, remember part of what you were concerned about and you told the commission was you wanted to avoid unnecessary civil claims. You don't necessarily have to go there. And if a decision had to be taken based on the input or the view that was expressed by the chief of staff and such view prevailed, could a chief of staff be held liable by members of the public? In other words, do they have any means of accountability in the institution of the South African Police Service?
No, he won't be.
But I think maybe we can leave it at that. We'll deal with that later.
Mr. Mutau, before you leave the two meetings, the meeting of the 5th and the 6th of March, 2025,
Yes.
I just want to find out from the general, did the minister present any document to counter what was contained in the documents that you presented, showing the successes or lack thereof of the task team? Did the minister present any document that countered what you were saying about the task team and its successes?
No, no, Commissioner, he never produced or presented anything that will counter. And even what informed him to come to the decision, he wouldn't give that.
Because as I understand, you had asked a specific question. What is the real reason for your wish to disband the task team? And you say the only answer that you had was that the political killings ended before 1994. So there was no need for the task team.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said, that after 94 is just matters that are happening. There was no document that he produced or not any presentation whatsoever.
And the chief of staff?
No, they also presented, there was nothing. They just spoke verbally.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. If you can then proceed to 137, following that meeting of 6 March.
Yeah, following the meeting of 6 March, going to paragraph 137. Nevertheless, the meeting concluded that Lieutenant General Kumalo and Sintumule must revise and amend the plan in accordance with the decisions taken during the meeting. This must be prepared for sign-off by the minister. It was agreed that there would be a further meeting convened on 27 March 2025 to finalize the plan. Until then, no further action was taken, and because the plan had to be approved and signed, the following was highlighted in the presentation. Paragraph 1371, the need for avoidance of adverse and unnecessary challenges that could be faced if the PKT is disbanded was of paramount importance. In this regard, the proposal was that there be a phased-out approach to the disbandment along the lines set out in the preliminary report of the 22nd of January. Insofar as the 114 dockets that were already on the court roll or before court, the recommendation was that they remain with the current investigating officers, the PKTT, both in KZN and the Eastern Cape ones, until finalization of the process, and thereafter there will be gradual withdrawal of the remaining PKTT members until all cases are finalized. The proposal recommended that the remaining members of PKTT would have the following responsibilities. Paragraph 1381, 23 detectives would be responsible for cases on the court roll at the time. 33 combat members will be responsible for protection of both the detectives and the 15 prosecutors, as due to the high-risk nature and the threat level of these investigations. 5 commanders to monitor the cases in court and provide command and control. 2 analysts, that is digital forensic, LCRC, and call data, to finalize analysis and section 212 statements for cases on the court roll. 2 administration personnel to be responsible for financial admin and fleet-related administration. 2 guards to safeguard operational centers, and when each case was finalized, dedicated detective and combat members would then withdraw and return to their respective station.
And then the action plan you set out in paragraph 139. The left column sets out activities, the middle column sets out the official who would be responsible, and the right column sets out the date by when that activity was due. Then in paragraph 140, you deal with the meeting of 27 March. If I can ask you to take the commission through that.
Yeah, on the 27th of March, a follow-up meeting was held regarding the implementation of the PKTT disbandment plan. In attendance at this meeting was the minister, the 2 deputy ministers, Lieutenant General Sintumule, Lieutenant General Sibia, Lieutenant General Kumalo, and a Lieutenant Colonel and myself. I attach as SFM 13 the attendance list of those who were invited to the meeting. I must also
Yeah, so that's on page 418, Commissioners. Yes, you can proceed.
Yeah, I must mention that for the PKTT portion of the meeting, because there was more than one meeting that day, the other attendees appearing on the attendance list were not part of this meeting that dealt with the PKTT. Further, that the lieutenant colonel that don't appear on the attendance list was, in actual fact, part of the meeting because she assisted in the presentation of the PKTT. She accompanied General Kumalo, and I understand she assisted also in the compilation of the presentation that was presented at the meeting. When the PKTT disbandment agenda item was discussed, the minister became visibly angry at this point. I, together with Kumalo, were still...
Can I ask you why? Why did the minister become visibly angry? Do you know?
Yeah, what made him angry was that in the proposed plan somewhere we said the PKTT is not going to take further cases. And when you look at the figures, you could see that there is an increase in the work of the PKTT because they did take over a case of Mandini. There was a case at Mandini where there was a case of case 30 of 2025 murder, which happened on the 4th of February. The deceased is...
Sorry, 4 February 2020?
4 February 2025. The disease is Senza Wenzege. Pendukani Mabida is an ANC councillor of Ward 18. So these dockets increased the work of the PKTT, so the minister could pick it up. And he got angry that instead of the work going down, the work was going up. And it was explained that it's because of this very same case docket, which the district commissioner the local POP members arrested 2 people for possession of a firearm. And the district commissioner suspected that maybe these people might be linked to the killing of the councillor. And he phoned the PKTT to come and take over the investigation. And after they done that, they were able to link both ballistically the firearm as well as the suspect to the murder of this councillor. So, well, the minister was angry for that. It was quite strange.
Okay, what was strange about it before I ask you the question?
Okay, no, it's quite strange it was first in my career to see a minister angry that police have done a good job, because here, police have arrested somebody that is linked to the killing of a councillor. And he was angry and that they took over this docket. They didn't make the arrest. Yes, we agree with him. They did not make the initial arrest of the people for possession of firearm. That was done by the local POP. But the PKTT was able to do further investigation, and they linked the suspect to the murder of this councillor. So that made him angry, and it made the meeting end up abruptly, and he said he will only talk to me and not talk to Kumalo and the rest. And yes, that what surprised me was exactly that how would you be angry when police did what they're supposed to do? So that I couldn't ask anybody as to why, but that remained boggling my mind forever.
So if I follow what you are saying is, in the report of 22 January 2025, you referred to page 407 of Masemola 2, Roman figure 2. You said no new dockets will be taken by or allocated to the task team. But on the 4th of February 2025, after you had said in the presentation no new dockets are going to be taken, new dockets continued to be taken by the task team.
Yes, new dockets, yes, they kept on. Remember also that I have never, since I got this letter of the Minister of the 31st of December 2024, I've never communicated any directive to either Kumalo or the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal to disband the team. On my side, I was managing this, yes, doing these plans and saying, well, until this disbandment plan is signed, so there is no communication I'm going to give to KwaZulu-Natal to stop the work. So hence the district commissioner then phoned the team and that they then they went and took that docket. So there were nothing wrong with them because I never sent them any letter to disband the team. So yes, they kept taking on the work.
General, did you consider, I mean, the minister would, if he was angry, he will come and explain why he was angry. Did you consider perhaps that he may have gotten angry or been angry because he considered that the increase in dockets indicates a defiance of his instruction? Is that a possibility that you would consider?
Yeah, well, I did consider that. That's how he considered, yes. And he said further he will engage with me. So I was waiting for him to engage. I did think it in that line. But the fact of the matter is, well, whether I disband the team or don't disband the team, here you have police that have linked suspect with the killing of a councillor. Shouldn't you, despite being saying, no, this team must be disbanded, but shouldn't you appreciate that? Now you are angry that they still exist, they even made further success. I mean, why do you have police? Are you not having them to fight crime?
Perhaps if you could go back to paragraph 38 of your statement, where you deal with section 2053.
Paragraph, sorry, Commissioner.
38 of your statement. Is that not perhaps the point that you are making? Yeah, page 10. Paragraph 38.
Yes, correct. Paragraph 38, section 2053 of the Constitution provides that the police service is to prevent, combat, and investigate crime, maintain public order, protect and secure the inhabitants of the Republic and their property, and to uphold and enforce the law.
So is that the point that you're making, that in light of the mandate of the police and the success that had been made, you are then confused by the minister's reaction when the police were performing the task that's assigned to them constitutionally?
That is correct, Commissioner. So yes, so well, they did exactly what is required of them by the Constitution, and it's expected that any action that the minister takes and myself should support, or whatever the minister does must support this section 2053 and not the other way around.
Then you conclude in that paragraph 141, to go back there to page 46. After you deal with that fact, which you say angered the minister based on the statistics, and you say the conclusion was that the minister said he's not going to talk to any of the team members, but he was only going to talk to you.
You what paragraph, Commissioner?
Yeah, remember in 141, you dealt
Yes.
with the minister's reaction,
Oh, correct.
and then you said earlier that the minister indicated that he was not going to deal with any other member of the PKTT, but he would communicate with yourself. I'm referring
That's
to your
correct.
earlier evidence.
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
Then if I can ask you to proceed to para 142.
142, at some point during the meeting, the minister stated that he did not understand why we were so adamant that the PKTT must not be disbanded. Then he said that the president is in agreement that the PTT be disbanded. I was quite taken aback by his revelation, since it was the president who, knowing about the effectiveness of the PKTT, had requested the PKTT to deploy to assist with the 40 cases, murder and investigations. Moreover, the president, in our last briefing on the PKTT, was satisfied with the performance. Of course, it's him saying it, so I wouldn't know whether what he's saying is true or not.
But do you have any reason not to believe what the minister said to you when he said that the president was in agreement that the PKTT be disbanded? Do you have any reasons or fact to contradict that statement?
Yeah, I do have reasons, because when I briefed the president on the 1st of February, he was quite surprised
Sorry,
that
which year? When you briefed the president on the 1st of February of which year?
1st of February 2025. Yes. He was quite taken aback when I briefed him that this team is being disbanded, and with no reasons given. And he was quite taken aback, and he said he will speak to the minister.
Yes, you testified on that yesterday, where you briefed the president on the 1st of February. I think if we can just take it from what you've stated in paragraph 142 to then continue in paragraph 143.
Perhaps let's start there after the tea adjournment, Mr. Mutau. Let's resume at 11:15. Let's adjourn.
Thank you. And one thing.